Morning, everybody. We're just going to wait a minute or so just to let everybody join, and then we'll get started. All right. While we're waiting for other people to join, we might get started. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. We are recording the session, and we will be sending out a link to everybody in the coming days. So if you do miss any part of it, that's all good. We've got you covered. My name's Summer. I'm the Project and Events Manager for MPAQ. Today, I'll just be moderating the session. It's great to see so many of you registered today. And today we will be talking about the new survey tools and techniques that are being used by plumbers, and we'll be hearing from Jason from Position Partners. Jason, thank you for being here today. And Matt.
Thanks, Summer.
Before I hand over to these guys, if you do have any questions, on the right-hand side of your screen, you'll find your chat. Feel free to pop them into there. They may address them throughout as we go through. Otherwise, we'll get back to them at the end if we miss any. But yeah, Jason, Matt, whenever you're ready.
Perfect. Thanks, Summer. And thanks, Master Plumbers, for allowing us to host the session today. So just quickly a little bit about myself. I've been in the industry now for 14 years. Originally started with Position Partners. I was direct to site, selling laser levels, pipe lasers and dumpies, direct to tradies on site. This model's now changed, and we tend to push these items out through the tool shops. So nowadays you can go down to your local trade tools or Sydney tools, and you can buy a laser level direct over the counter. I've been pretty fortunate to have been through a lot of areas of our business, and the last couple of years I've spent in the building and construction game. And seeing the change come through with the move to digital has actually been really exciting, and the uptake has actually been really good to see. Now, a little bit about what we're going to do today. We're going to have a chat about us and what we do. I'm going to have a look at what you guys do as plumbers in your day-to-day jobs, how you're currently setting things out, and some of the issues that are associated with that. Then we're going to have a chat about the new digital setup tools, which is what you've come here today to learn about, and questions at the end. Now, I will encourage you to stop me any time and ask questions throughout. Got plenty of time today, so if you've got a question, feel free to ask, and we'll see what we can do about answering it. Now, as far as Position Partners goes, Position Partners as a whole has been around for about 14 years now. We started with 5 different businesses throughout Australia selling laser levels. We joined to become one. We're now spread across 5 different countries under 5 different companies and more than 300 employees throughout. Our business covers 4 different areas. The geospatial area, which I'm a part of, covers off your surveyors and your engineers, and the geospatial part also covers the other part of our businesses as well. So civil construction, basically anything to do with moving dirt. The building and construction area, which I look after. So this is all your subbies, your plumbers, your sparkies, HVAC, concreters, your interior fit out guys, your builders. So we do a lot with your McDabbs, your Hutchies, your Tompkins. And these days, so much more with residential builders, especially with the ones doing a lot of these architectural style homes, because these days nothing's ever straight. There's so many curves and different levels that trying to do it traditionally has become very expensive and hard to do in the time frames that are expected. Okay, so going through and having a bit of a chat about what you guys do. So looking at the commercial construction side of things. So this is where we look at your high-rise, your large-scale developments, your commercial and hard stands. Yeah, all these big sheds that we're seeing built in Southeast Queensland at the moment. And these job sites have evolved. The cost and time spent trying to achieve the tight deadlines is becoming harder and harder. If you're sitting out on deck, it can become quite difficult. I've got a plumber here in Southeast Queensland I've been dealing with this year who's been doing a lot of the sit-out down at Gasworks. He said traditionally to do a fire collar sit-out per floor. He's got 160 penetrations to sit out. It takes him and two of his tradesmen 8 hours in total to sit out his fire collars. Since buying one of these systems, he can now sit out his 160 fire collars by himself in an hour. So it's just a huge saving in time for him, and it gives him the ability to get on site before the steel fixtures are there, get his marks down, and he's not having to wait for the surveyor to get there on time to help him get things done if he's going that way. So it really has been a big cost saving for him just in that one area alone. Looking through at the residential plumbing, we're not talking here about maintenance plumbing. This is more your multi-house and your subdivisions. So as we all know, we're going on these sites, there's multiple people. If you're lucky enough, there's been pegs and profiles put in. But the second there's a machine on site, starts digging, generally all these marks and profiles are knocked out. So string lines and lost pegs are becoming a thing of the past. With the new set-out technology, you're able to set out your work and check accuracy in real time without having to wait on a surveyor to come back to site to reinstall these marks for you. The civil and groundworks, so looking here at your water and your fire system mains, your drainage, your sewage systems. Another part of this is if you've got a subdivision, you've got to match up to existing works, being able to make sure your plans actually tie in. If they don't, you can make adjustments on the fly or send the information back live in the field to the builder or to the designer to have things changed.
Jace, can I just interrupt for a second? I just noticed Elliot in the background saying nothing's happening on his end. Can everyone see a slideshow? Is everyone able to follow, or is it just Elliot that's struggling at the moment? I don't know whether you need to unmute people, Jace, or...
Can you help, Summer?
Yeah, I can see the presentation fine. Nobody else is commenting on it. By the looks of it, so it may just be in... Yeah, Nathan's saying that he can see it perfectly, so it may be an issue for Elliot, unfortunately. Yeah.
So, Elliot, maybe just log out and re-log on if possible, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you can see this slideshow. Nathan can see it. Yep, everyone can see it. That's great. Everyone's coming through. So, that, as I said, good. Excellent. Sorry about that. Just wanted to double check. That's all, Jace. Thanks.
Now, the other good thing about our software in the field is that you do have the ability to record anything you put in the ground. So if you do need to go back to a buried piece of infrastructure, you can find it to within millimeters, and also gives you the ability to do your own as-built or as-constructed drawings for QA for the builder or for whoever is managing that site as well. Going forward to the next part of our presentation, whereabouts our two worlds meet. So looking at your dumpies, your lasers, your pipe lasers, theodolites, these are all tools that I used to sell direct to site, and nowadays you just go and buy through a tool shop. But these tools have been around for a while. They've already changed the way you work on site. They're still widely used today. They increase your accuracy. They reduce the amount of time that you need to spend with manual methods. But the next evolution from here is actually being able to take your plans and lay them out live and check things live in the field from a digital platform. No more need to have multiple PDFs on site trying to transfer the RLs from one page to another. In the field, you can now, with a digital drawing, touch on the alignment or the piece of infrastructure you're trying to put on the ground, and all the information is kept inside that drawing rather than multiple bits of paper. It takes us into the workflows that are currently being dealt with on site. But a lot of people are still very much using PDF plans. If you're lucky, you might be using a digital plan on an iPad or a tablet, going through Bluebeam or Aconex or Dropbox and using them that way. So you've also always got the latest. Generally, you're then on site laying these out traditionally. You've got your string lines, your profiles, or if your boss has been paying, he's nice, you've got a surveyor on site, or the builder may have provided one for you to do some basic alignment. Just got a quick video that shows a typical scenario on site. And here we go. This is pretty typical. We've got 3 tradesmen pulling string lines, leave them down, trying to work out where things are. This is great, but I mean, how often on site is the wind blowing? You're pulling a string line a couple of 100 meters, and there's a stockpile in the way. It's not always perfect. Brings us on to our next point, which is the challenges on site. And plumbers, you're always going to face similar challenges to every other subcontractor on site. The obstacles, so the inability to actually be able to pull a string line across the site because of obstacles in the way. This is going to slow you down, and that's typically going to be hours every week. If you actually need a surveyor, the time spent waiting for them to come out. The survey costs, especially if you are getting the surveyors to set out every point for you, and especially on a deck, because you don't want to pull string lines and measure. And this kind of money can add up very quickly with the call-out fees, and it can make the cost of owning your own equipment quite viable in the situation. The downtime to work out if measurement mistakes have been made, and if the mistakes aren't caught, there's always going to be a time and cost because of the rework. And lastly, you've finished the job, you need to actually prove what you've done is actually correct. And because of these site challenges, there's going to be costs. So again, obstacles on site, delaying the job, and again, that's just hours during the week. Waiting on the surveyor, the project's going to be held up. Survey costs themselves, lost pegs and marks, having to wait for the surveyor to return and put these back in. And it's not often you can call a surveyor and he's there in 15 minutes. Generally, it's going to be 3 to 4 days before they can come back. So what do you do in that time? The downtime is figuring out these measuring mistakes. Who made the error? How did the error occur? How's it going to move forward? It's quite surprising the amount of times I've been on site to do a demo of this equipment, help someone mark out a bathroom, and we go and look at measurements off the block walls. The blockie's been there before you. He's put his block work on the wrong side of the line, and straight away everything in your bathroom is out 190 mil if you're measuring off the previous trade's work. And that brings us on to rework. I mean, there's always going to be a time and a cost, and essentially that's just money and materials to get that sorted. And again, extra time just to prove what you've constructed is correct according to the plan. And more often than not, depending on the size of the project, this can involve a surveyor coming back out to actually do the as-constructed drawings for you. Now, because of this, there's always delays on site, cost time. Additional time always has a cost, and ultimately this is going to affect the profitability for the project. Now, this brings us out to our site set-out solutions, essentially what we came here to talk to you guys about. So with the digital site set-out solutions, there is 2 solutions that we offer for sites. The first one is your GPS or your GNSS solution, as it's more commonly known. If you're on these bigger sites, more often than not, you'll see the civil guys walking around with these. They've got the mushroom on top of the stick. They've got a data controller with their plans. Now, this solution is great if you're doing a lot of wide open work, subdivisions, hard stands. You're putting infrastructure on the ground, such as your water and fire mains. The accuracy of this solution is 20 to 30 millimeters. And when you're putting a pipe on the ground, it's 300 mil. Most of you are quite happy to be within 20 to 30 mil. Where the solution does start to get into trouble is it's not going to work in the city or any built up areas where you don't have a clear view of the sky. And if you are in a large building development, the second tilt panels start going up, it's no longer viable. Which brings us on to the other piece of equipment we sell, which is the robotic total station. So the big difference here is it relies on line of sight, pretty much the same as how your laser level works. The accuracy is far higher. So everything you set out with this tool is to within 2 and 3 millimeters. And it will work anywhere. So inside buildings, underground, in the city, as long as you've got line of sight, it works. And all this is tied together with the field tablet shown here. And the great thing about the field tablet is the software. So Magnet Field is the program that we use. It's all icon driven. If you can use a mobile phone, you can use our software. The great thing is that the software can be configured to be as complex and as easy as you want. You can do anything on this tablet that a surveyor can do, but essentially we're not teaching you to be a surveyor. We're only teaching you to set out the work that you're actually doing. So to use the tablet, where you'll spend most of your time is going to be the map or the plan view. And if we tap on that icon, it takes us to the screen we're working on, which is essentially is a PDF style view of your job. So this particular job here is a townhouse development that we delivered an instrument to recently. So as you can see up the back is the biobasin. It shows you the location of where the townhouses are. You've got your water mains running through there and all your pits. So to go and set anything in this drawing out, it's as simple as just touching on the alignment of the mains or the pits, and our system will guide you there forward, back, left, right in real time with you being inside the drawing as well. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to hand over to Mitch in a video, and Mitch is our trainer, and when you buy the system, you'll get to meet him as he does all our training in the field. What Mitch does initially is do what we call a resection, is where he sets the equipment up, but I'll start the video and let you guys see how the system actually does work in real time.
Now that we've positioned the TopCon LN150 using the resection routine, we can now jump into staking some points out. As you can see, we've got our magnet field here. We're in the set out mode. So we've selected our point that we wanted to stake out, and we've got our interactive compass here that's guiding us to the point. So as I move forward 80 mil, like it's instructing me to, as you can see, we're live. We're showing us our updated position on the map. It's now saying 50 mil to the right. And we're now positioning the bolt within 3 millimeters. So that position will keep updating as you move your prism around, and the compass will turn green as soon as you're inside your set tolerance that you've outlined. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set out a line. That could be anything. That could be from the outline of a footing or a grid line. In this case, it's one of our grid lines here. So I'm just going to select that, hold down on the screen, go stake line. Okay, so now as we update our position, you can see it's giving us a live position to that string, and it's telling us what direction we have to move. So it's saying that we have to go 3 millimeters to the right to get to that string. So as you can see, there we're sitting on 0. That's where we'd set our string out. That will update its chainage and offset wherever we go on the screen. So if we zoom out there just to give it a bit more context, as you can see, that's showing our position perpendicular to wherever we are on the line.
Just going to take you to some more real-world examples of job files from our customers. So this particular job file is from Queen's Wharf here in Brisbane. What made Queen's Wharf quite unique is that all the grid lines on this project are curved. So being able to see that anything on the site has been near on impossible for the subbies unless they use the surveyor on site, of course, which they pay for, or they have their own equipment. So this particular job file here is one of the floors showing all the penetration locations. If we zoom in, this is one of the wet areas, and here we have all the penetrations on the floor. So if you're the subcontractor or plumber on the site, it's a matter of just selecting the penetration. The system will guide you there, forward, back, left, right. It will also record the position of the penetration as well. So if you do get questioned by the builder or someone 6 months down the track, you're able to prove that where you actually place that penetration is relevant to design. So the system will show you the design location of where the penetration is. It will show you where you've actually physically put the penetration and the difference. So if you've got a set tolerance of 10 to 15 mil, it will show you that you've placed that penetration to within 10 to 15 millimeters of design. So all this record and all this traceability is kept for you as you work. Here's another example from one of our customers working out at Trade Coast. This just happens to be a large warehouse. So in this example here, they're going through and doing all the early civil works, all the water and fire mains, the stormwater, the sewer. And this is a great example of a job where you can use either the GNSS equipment or the robotic total station. So the mains in the ground are a couple of 100 millimeters wide. There's no real issue with the tolerances these guys were waiting on. Now, the other part of what our system does, of course, is records position of things that you have done. So here is a typical screenshot of what will happen when you want to start recording a position. So in this case, it's it's part of the stormwater system that the customer is putting in. So it's a matter of putting the tip of your pole on the infrastructure in the ground and hitting enter. The system will prompt you and say, what are you recording? So in this case here, we're recording a stormwater pipe. The system will, as you take your shots, it will string the pipe together for your alignment. So we give the alignment a number. And the very first point you take, it will ask you, what is the pipe material made of? Is it composite? Is it concrete? How big is the pipe? Is it 200? Is it 300? And you also have the option to be able to attach a photo to it as well. So if there happens to be a junction with 4 or 5 other services running off it, you can take a photo with the built-in camera inside our data controller. You can mark up the photos with what's been done, and all this information is kept inside the software. So if you do need to do an as constructed for the builder or the surveyor, you can send this information through to them. The surveyor, if needed to do, can plot this for ADAC applications, or if, for instance, this happens to be for BAC, they can go through and give that information to them so that they can do all their as constructed drawings. So what this really does help with is the fact that you can actually record the infrastructure in the ground. There's no need to wait for the surveyor to come and record it. You don't need to leave risers, and you can cover up your service as soon as you're done, making it much easier. Which takes us on to how we train and support you guys in the field now. Look, with any new equipment, there's always going to be a learning curve. Any systems that are purchased or hired from us, they do come with hands-on training in the field. We don't train in the classroom. We train on-site with your equipment and your job files, because that's what is most relevant. It's about making the system fit your workflow, not you fit the system. At the end of the day, you guys already know what you're doing. This is just a fancy tape measure to make your life much easier. Now, the way we support you is also trained. We've got a system called Takara. It's very much like TeamViewer, but on steroids. It means if you've got a problem in the field, and what we encourage our users is, if you can't work something out within 5 minutes, call us. We can help you do the setup. If you can't remember how to offset a line, can't remember how to record a point, we can log in, we can see what you see, we can take over, we can drive, we can help you in real time. If you've got an update for your job file, you can even email it to us, and we can push it out to you live in the field while we're talking to you on the controller, or even while you're driving between sites. And also, as far as our service goes, the equipment's not sent overseas for service. Everything you buy is serviced and supported right here in Brisbane or across Australia, where our other offices are. I'm just going to play another quick video that shows how our support actually does work.
Jakara Link is our custom-designed remote support solution, offering you support, software updates, and a range of other services on demand, wherever you're working.
Whenever you need some help, one of our technicians can log into your survey tablet remotely and troubleshoot with you over the phone, seeing exactly what you're seeing on the same screen. Most of the time, we can resolve technical issues then and there, saving a lot of time and frustration on your part.
Oh, and lastly, just a few things from our customers here in Brisbane. Crafter is one of the bigger concrete companies that we deal with. We've been dealing with Crafter for a long time now, and Crafter have just brought their 8th system off us this year. They use a great spread of equipment. They've got total stations, they've got rovers, they've also got the GT total station as well. Another major builder we deal with here in Brisbane a lot is McNab. McNab is one we've spent a lot of time working with, and McNab are at the point now where they pretty much have a piece of equipment on every single site that they're running. Also now it's been beneficial for us and for them is that all their subcontractors have also made a move to using digital setout. So now when you go to a McNab site with your equipment, everybody's working off the same data plans, the same files. The files are all shared between everyone. One of the great examples from McNab is the Port of Brisbane, where they're doing all their own as constructed drawings. One of the managers there, any new subcontractor that goes on site, he's able to throw up the live as built on the screen in the office and go through and show them where the services have been placed the day before. So if they are digging or if there is any die before you dig information, it's all recorded right then and for anyone else to be used in the field live, and files are easily shared between everyone. They've alone said one of the other massive advancements they've seen is just the savings in printing and paper alone. Not having to pay $2 or $3 per A3 piece of paper. So there's been just a cost saving alone in having digital plans available to everyone at all times. So that pretty much wraps up what we wanted to run through today. So do we have any questions that people want us to answer? Or Matt, do you have anything else you want to sort of come in with?
Look, Jason, I think you covered the topic extremely well. The only thing I would say is just to reiterate some of the points. Look, I've been in the industry for 20 years myself. Both Jason and I have worked closely together on different things, and this is an area where he and Mitch, the trainer there, have really been working strongly on. But as we've seen technology go into different areas, we've seen learning curves. We've seen it easy. We've seen it hard. I think at the moment, the learning curve that's there for plumbers or any of the trades is a lot easier than what it ever was for, say, the civil and prior to that mining groups that actually took up this type of technology, and surveyors prior to that. So the technology's evolved, it's easier to use, it's intuitive, our systems are in place to support people, and we do have some major customers that are utilising this equipment, as you can see, on all sites. Instead of just one or two, all their sites are mandated to use it. So it has saved people money. Don't be scared about the technology. It's not that difficult. If you can use a mobile phone, you can use this technology. If you understand your plans and you understand your job, then you're probably 80% there. So we find that once people are using the equipment, because they understand their job, they really get a lot of benefit out of it. And they find that if a surveyor has been doing the task for them previously, they will often do it better as long as they, once they get up and running with the equipment. So just my feedback there. But great presentation, Jace.
So he's got a question there from Ian regarding do you need to have the digital plans? Yes, so we do prefer that you have drawing files, so the DWG or the DXF file. And of course, people that have PDFs, the PDF essentially is a screenshot of the drawing file that we have. So depending on sort of what stage of the project you're at, our systems have the ability to take a file direct and work from grid lines. So if you have grid lines on your drawing and there's grid lines on the ground, you can set up your system without any modification to that drawing whatsoever. That's extremely handy for those of you who are doing set-outs on decks or set-outs on buildings once the concrete's down. For those who are more at the civil side or going into a green site, we do need to have a form of control. And again, every site you work on, there is always going to be some form of control. Any grid lines or points that are put down do come from that control put in by a surveyor. So if you do work for a builder, that survey control plan should be available for that site, and we just need to have those plans overlaid. So if you do have an architectural design, a hydraulic design, and a survey design, we just need those files put on the same datum and scale. And you can do this yourself if you're competent in the office, but more often than not, how we de-risk this is we have survey companies that specialize purely in data preparation. So they'll just charge you an hourly rate. They don't need to be the surveyor on site. You'll send them your plans, so your architectural, your hydraulic, your survey plans. They'll go through these plans. They'll check them for you. They'll make sure there's no clashes. Everything fits together and that they work. So when you get to the site, you're not spending hours scratching your head thinking, why does my hydraulic design not fit inside the architecturals? This is checked for you before you get to the site. And these guys, again, they just charge you an hourly rate.
Cool. All right. Sorry. I was going to jump on and ask you that question. But you picked it up first. So that's all good. Anybody else, if you've got any questions, feel free to still pop them in the chat. But I just wanted to jump on while we're waiting and just say thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you to Jason for presenting. And thank you to Matt as well for being here and throwing in your 2 cents too.
Yeah, it's definitely Jason's presentation, but I actually do see another question there, Jace. So,
Mick Coffey's asked, will it work in a domestic installation, no hydraulics, high-end home, grid lines available?
Yes, so we can definitely work in this situation. So providing you've got, in this case, I'm assuming you've got architectural plans. So providing there is something on that plan that's physically on the ground, yes, you can use the system. And as long as there's something on screen, you can set that out. It will give you the ability to set it out as it is. If you want to offset it, you can offset it left, right, up, down, and you can even put a grade on things as well if required. So if anybody would like to actually have a look at one of these systems live, like I'll travel right throughout Southeast Queensland, more than happy to have you guys email me or call me. Happy to arrange a site visit or a demonstration. Everything we sell, we also hire. So we've got plenty of options there as far as getting this equipment in your hands.
And Jason, sometimes this equipment's not for everyone as well, right? Sometimes it is only for, people who have the jobs that are the right size. So, we'll often say, look, yeah, for that job, absolutely perfect. But that other one, it's probably not going to be, advantageous for you.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, sorry. Thank you so much to both of you for being here. And thank you, obviously, to the whole team at Position Partners for partnering with us on this webinar. As I said, we have recorded the session. Mick's interested. There we go. We will send out the recording, and we will also send out Position Partners details, Jason and Matt's details in the email that we send out after today's webinar. If we don't have any other final questions, do you guys have any final thoughts or comments you want to add?
Just one quick thing before my computer loses battery. I just wanted to say, if anyone has any interest in digital twins and understanding it, we're more than happy to talk to them about that. And I mean, it mightn't be something you want to buy because it's out there in the future, but it's something we're very heavily involved in and would be more than happy to give you a bit of an understanding of what's going on in that world, because we will see that over the next 10 years, there's 500 projects that the Queensland government are saying are going to be given full digital twins, and many of you might be involved in that. So happy to give you an understanding on that too.
Cool. And if you're watching the replay or if you think of a question later, definitely send that through to MPAQ and we can pass that on to the guys to get some additional answers if you're looking for any further information. Yeah, it doesn't look like any other questions have come through, so we might wrap things up. Thank you so much to everyone for joining us on your Wednesday, hump day. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your week. And yeah, thanks again to Position Partners for joining us and for partnering with us on this webinar.
Awesome. Thanks, Summer.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Summer. Thanks, everyone, for attending.
Bye.
Thanks, Chase. Bye.